Yes, people, how we going? So we'll see how many people get on the live because it is early in the morning, but I've got a bit spare time, so I thought I would jump on. But when I've been having a look through some prison news, I know this is in the headlines a lot recently about illegal migrants and foreign nationals. So it did say, which is open for discussion, that foreign nationals to be deported as soon as they are sentenced to prison. Now, I will give you my thoughts on this, and then we will see what everybody else thinks. Obviously, it'll be open for discussion in the comment section. But if you are watching this later on, you can also comment on this because, like I say, it is early doing this live, but a lot of people will be watching this later on as it is uploaded. So my take on this is foreign nationals to be deported. What it actually says is that when these foreign nationals are sentenced to prison, it used to be 30% that they would serve before they would be up for deportation. But they're now trying to, in the House of Lords, get this passed so that foreign nationals, believe it or not, can be deported as soon as they're sentenced to prison. But for me, obviously, if they're going to be deported anyways after the sentence, why deport them straight away when they are sentenced, meaning that they will not serve any punishment whatsoever? If a foreign national obviously commits crime, gets sentenced to prison, goes to whatever prison, immediately deported, they do not serve any of their sentence. They get sent back to their homeland, the country they came from. But I will read out this article that has popped up. I'll just put this on for a second whilst I read this. And it did say, 2 seconds, people, I'll just shut this screen down a second so I can put this on, just so that it doesn't go off. So foreign criminals to face deportation after sentencing under new plans. Foreign criminals will face immediate deportation after receiving a custodial sentence under new plans announced by the Justice Secretary. Under the proposals for England and Wales, those who are given fixed-term sentences could be deported straight away and would be barred from re-entering the UK. The decision over whether they go on to serve their sentence abroad would be up to the country they are sent to. The Ministry of Justice has said, in theory, this means that some criminals may be able to walk free upon arrival in their destination country, exactly what I've just been on about. Foreign offenders make up around 12% of the prison population, with prison places costing 54 grand a year. It says the new powers would save money for British taxpayers and protect the public. To those serving life sentences, such as terrorists and murderers, will serve their full prison sentence in the UK before being considered for deportation. Once a custodial sentence is handed down by a judge, the decision over whether someone will be deported will fall to a prison governor. Authorities would retain the power to keep criminals in custody if, for example, they were planning further crimes against the UK's interests or were seen as a danger to national security. What an absolute load of bollocks, in my opinion. Just take this off a second. What an absolute load of bollocks. It says, if passed, the new powers could be applied to those already in prison, meaning the government could begin deportations immediately. As of January 2024, there were about 10,400 foreign nationals in the prison system. Well, obviously, if you're a foreign national serving in the UK prison system, you will obviously want to go back and get deported so you don't have to serve your sentence, which in my eyes, like I've just said, this is why this is open for discussion, because if you're sentenced and then you can get deported immediately. I'll just take this banner off because here we go. And then you can be deported immediately, meaning you have served 0 of your sentence. What if this was an S offender, which a large majority of them are, who have come over illegally, which we all know is going on at the moment, and then they don't have to serve the sentence, and it says they get deported, but they are barred from re-entering the UK. But what if they've already entered the UK illegally, which the majority of them are? The foreign nationals that are coming in and committing crimes have come over on boats, so that we're not supposed to be here in the first place. Then they will not serve their sentence. They will be deported. The country they get deported to, do you really think that they're going to put them into a prison cell and cost them money? They will just let them walk free and they will come straight back. That is what I think about that, people. So I will jump onto the comments to see what people are saying and see if anyone agrees. Right, Jade, put her up first because Jade has been moderator. How are we doing? Save us taxpayers paying to keep them. But what about, yes, obviously that's the reason what they're saying. They're saying they're going to deport them immediately to save the taxpayer money. But what about the victims? The victims of obviously serious crimes are obviously going to want them to serve their sentence, especially like I've just mentioned, if they are S offenders. Obviously, if it's just petty things, then people won't really be too bothered about that. But if it is someone who has committed a very serious S offence and they are deported to come back freely, illegally, like they might have done already. So Grace says, absolutely crazy. They haven't been doing this all along. I'm a foreigner living here, and I would assume if I committed a crime, I'd be deported. All just crazy. Obviously, yes, like we're saying, serve the sentence and then get deported, but they are now saying that they are going to deport them without even serving the sentence. It's only understandable if you're in a foreign country and you commit a crime in their country, in that country, then you will be deported. I'll see what else you've got on here, Grace. But obviously, one would expect them to go to prison in their own country and also be banned in the UK for good. But a lot of the countries that they come from, obviously, we're talking about a wide variety of different nationals from different countries, but some of them from third world countries that have come here. When they get back to their country, when they've been deported, I assume they will not put them into prison. They will just immediately release them back on to the streets. So Mr. Mez says, banned from entering the UK, just get on the next rubber boat. They leave every 15 minutes. I have to wait longer for a Trent bus. A little bit of humour in that, but he's actually correct because every day there is hundreds, if not thousands, coming over on the boats. And this is an actual fact. People don't like to speak about it, but it's true and it needs to be talked about. So Jade, like to say, is laughable aboard from the UK, most likely got here illegally. Absolutely correct. Like I've just been saying, obviously, if they did come here illegally, come to the UK illegally, committed the crime, get deported, what are they going to do? Get the next boat back to the UK. Exactly what Donna says here. Donna says their own countries don't want them. And that is an absolute fact as well, because I did see a program, I think it was over in Saudi Arabia, when one of the, I can't remember who exactly it was, but he was a very wealthy billionaire who was doing this bit of a talk, and he was talking about the trash in their countries that they get rid of. They don't allow them, they don't want them in their countries. and the UK is letting them in. And that is coming from a Saudi who is a tycoon. I believe he was a billionaire. I can't remember the chap's name. When he was doing a speech, he was talking about it, and he was gobsmacked about the UK, and that was coming from a Saudi who said the people that commit crimes in their countries, they don't want them in. They get rid of them, and they end up in the UK. Right, see what Stephen Raggett says. Our country should pay the price, then be sent back to their country and banned from this country forever. So yes, obviously what he's meaning there is like exactly what I said earlier on. Should serve the sentence, then get deported. That's my take on it as well. Obviously, if they're committing the crime, and like I've said, if it is what I would class as petty crimes, which is there is a lot of them at the moment, shoplifters, things like that, then obviously people won't be too bothered if they have to serve a few months, get them deported. But what I'm talking about is the ones that have committed very serious offences. And when I just read that article out there, if you are just joining now, you will see the live later on. Sorry, you'll see the full video. When it was mentioning lifers and terrorists. So a lifer in the UK, if it is a UK citizen lifer and they have committed murder and they are doing a life sentence, when they are released, they are on license for the rest of their lives. They cannot leave the country. But if you're a foreign national or a terrorist, like it said, once you've done your minimum term, you will be then deported. Whereas a UK citizen who is a lifer does their minimum term, they come up for parole, and sometimes they do not get released. They can, if they get a 20-year tariff, they could end up being in prison for 30 or 35 years. But a foreign national, once they've served the minimum tariff, they will be deported back to their country with no more supervision or anything. And that was going for terrorists and lifers. So there we have it. Right. So Donna is saying it's disgusting how many more people have to suffer. There will only be something done if it affects the legal mafia directly. Now, there is a lot going on in the press at the moment, and I don't know if anybody actually seen. There's a couple of videos being going around, and it is a fact that in some of the schools they have been doing test runs, and they said it was in case of a lockdown. And I know this for a fact because in my niece's school, the school done like what you would call a test run in case of an emergency, where they had to lock the whole school down, lock the classrooms down, and you had to hide under your desks and be as quiet as you could be, as if you were playing hide and seek. Now, what does that tell you? Now, like I said, there's videos going around about this, and they're saying that there is planned attacks. I am getting off subject a little bit, but because we're on about foreign nationals committing crimes, I did think I would bring that bit in just to see if anybody else had actually heard that. So Lee Foster says, do you think they will do it? They are just going to release terrorists. I believe, obviously, they are trying to, or they want to try and make themselves look good, that they are going to try and crack down and deport foreign nationals and more so illegal migrants who are coming in and committing crimes. But like I say, people are afraid to talk about this type of topic. And as you can see in the media, some of the media outlets are the ones that are on YouTube that will not be broadcast on the likes of the BBC and Sky News and the such. But I've done a video the other week on that migrant hotel in London, Canary Wharf, I believe it was, where there was over 90 offences being committed by the migrants in that hotel over the past year. So there we go. Eddie says, good morning, mate. And then he says, I hope you're well, Ricky lad. I'm doing brilliant. Thank you very much. But I thought, obviously, I release me videos on a night time. But I thought with all these news stories popping up about the prisons, every morning or every UK morning time, I will try and get a live on like this and do a bit interacting with the subscribers and try and get more videos on, because I do have a bit more time on my hands, and I do know that you lot watching this back at home love these type of stories and you like to hear what is actually going on, because like I say, they don't do these type of topics on the mainstream media. But if you do look into it, you do find the articles. And like I've said, someone did ask us what the app was called that I use. It is called News Now Prison News. And when you go onto it, it's got a big list of all the prison news that have come on in the past 24 hours. And there is a massive list, and it does list all the different types of cases, the likes of murder, the S offences, gangs, whatever. So I do try and pick and choose which ones, but it does come up at the top, which are the most popular stories. And obviously this one did pop up yesterday, so I thought I would mention that one. So Paul Graham, love your videos. Take it easy, nice one. But like I say, I just thought I would come on and share that story. But when I did, actually, as I'm on, I'll go back onto this now, and I will put in prison news now. And a lot of them that have actually come up, the latest prison news. I'll just get it on now, people. I should have been able to share the screen, but a lot of... So, Preston prison officer. There's a lot of these at the moment, mind. Prison officers being sent to prison for intimate relationships with the prisoners. But this one was a Preston probation officer in the relationship with a prisoner. So a Preston prison officer who failed to disclose she was in a relationship with an inmate when she got the job has been sentenced to 12 months. Probation officer Leonie Wilkinson, 27, did not disclose any conflicts of interest when she applied for the role at HMP Preston during her vetting period. So she got sentenced to 12 months in prison, and that was a probation officer. But like I said, 2 seconds, I'll actually going to screenshot that and I will show you who this probation officer is. And you don't normally get probation officers that look like this, people. Wait a second, I'll just get this up on the screen. So like I've said, wait a second, it's just uploading. There we go. Preston probation officer who already had an interest with an inmate that was in the prison. Now, why do you think that is, people? Definitely went in there on purpose, don't you think? She knew she had a boyfriend in prison. She wanted to get in there and be with him. So what did she do? Apply to be a probation officer in that prison. Well, like I say, people, there's any amount of stories come up, and 2 seconds, let's just see what the comments are saying now. The woman jail staff have gone wild recently, even more so. Yes, there's any amount every day these stories are popping up about female prison officers going with the inmates. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of these female prison officers might not get a lot of attention on the outside. Soon as they go into prison, all the lads on the wing, 100 high testosterone fellas giving the wolf whistle. The women are loving the bit of attention, and it goes to the head, and they end up dabbling with the inmates. So Disco Dave says, hi, bud, you would think the government would take extra procedure to house the immigrants to a more secure place, to house them, to keep our children and everyone else safe. Absolutely. And I did speak about this on another video I'd done the other day when I mentioned about social media. The police have set up an elite police task force unit to monitor social media to see if anybody is talking about the migrants like this. And they are clamping down and arresting them and sending them to prison. And I said, why don't they set up an elite police task unit to vet the migrants that are in the hotels that are committing these type of offences? And more so, it's happening in every city, every town, and every county up and down the UK, and nothing is being done about it. And when you talk about it, you get sent to prison. So they should have an elite police task unit to vet these migrants in the hotels to stop them doing anything untoward to the little ones or anyone for that matter. So Lee Foster says a lot of women prison staff keep getting found out. They're all getting found out because, like I say, well, not all of them. There's loads getting found out, I should say. But imagine how many more are getting away with it. So them prisoners will be thinking themselves lucky when they find out, or they find one of them prison officers, female prison officers that are up for it inside of prison. They will think they have hit the jackpot. Right, people, I am going to wrap it up now because I did say I'm just going to jump on maybe a few times a week on a morning, jump on, do a live, do a bit interacting with the subscribers. I'll just have a look at a couple of more of these comments. So Lee Foster says they should have built a detention centre years ago, give them no money or housing. And that is the way everyone thinks about it as well. Well, I'm saying everybody, the majority of the people that watch my channel, but these lefties, obviously, the lefties don't do that. Oh, Jade says, meant to see you. Thank you very much, Jade. I used to do the lives on TikTok on a morning, but like I say, I get more interaction with the subscribers on here. It's just random sometimes on TikTok. So I will jump on here and do more lives, people, because like I say, you lot are the ones that are watching me program or me channel back at home. So I'll do a little bit of interacting with you all. But enjoy your day, people. Stay safe. It is 8:45. Wait, quarter. I am actually in Thailand whilst I'm doing this, which the majority of you will know by now because I have moved to Thailand. It is 3:15 in the afternoon, and it'll be 9:15 in the morning back in the UK. So enjoy your day, people. Stay safe. Watch what you're doing, and I will be getting more of these lives up and running, people. Enjoy your day.